Before we begin creating, it's really important that we fill out some important information first. On the very left first line, you will see that it says first and last name. Write your first and last name, then followed by your homeroom teacher, then write your grade and your letter. So for example, if you're in 2D, write 2D. If you are in 2C, then write 2C. Then write your school name, Denton Creek Elementary, and on the very right, you're going to see your name, teacher, and grade again. Fill those out again. The only difference is that there's a spot for a title. You're going to fill that out with the title Sunflowers. Here is an example of my Artime paper filled out. Next, we need to turn our paper portrait. That's tall like a building. The Artime symbol should be at the top, and you will see the words top and in parentheses portrait. Make sure you circle it so that you know you've turned it in the right direction. In the rectangle box, find the middle of it, and we're going to draw an oval as the top of our vase. Now we're going to be using our hand as a guide. Place your hand near the middle of that rectangle box and place a dot near your fingertips and the end of your hand. You should see 2 dots. Next, we're going to connect those 2 dots above with a curved line. Use your pencil and draw it lightly and connect the 2 dots above. Then we're going to repeat the same steps below, using another curved line, kind of matching the first one we drew as best as we can. Near the bottom of our rectangle box, we're going to draw a curved line that matches the curved line in our oval. Now you can make this line long or short, it's up to you. We're trying to create symmetry on our vase, so what I draw on one side, I'm going to match it on the other side. Now the shape of the vase that I draw is not the same shape you have to draw. You can make yours skinnier or wider at different parts of your vase. Now right now our vase looks like it's floating in that rectangle box, so we're going to define the space with a horizontal line. We're going to draw a line that represents the table. Don't just draw a straight line across because that's going to look funny. The table doesn't go through the vase. Now I'm drawing a horizontal line and I'm going to pick up my pencil when it touches the vase. Now we're ready to start thinking about our sunflowers. I'm trying to find the placement with my finger before I begin drawing, and I'm going to try and create a variety or different sizes of flowers. I'm going to draw my largest in the middle and then 2 smaller ones on each side. You can see that I used a circle for the center of my sunflower. We're not going to draw all the details and petals today. Next, we're going to use these jumbo crayons that have no paper on them.
Holding my crayon in the middle, I'm going to place the belly of the crayon on my paper. We're going to rub the crayon until it fills in the background space. We are not going to rub the crayon over the vase that we drew and the table. It's okay if the crayon goes over the circles of your flower. When you are all finished filling in your background color, please place your crayon back and turn your artwork into your artwork folder. Today we're going to begin painting our sunflowers. Take your artwork out of your artwork folder first. Let's go over our art supplies. You will see our paint tray with our 6 rainbow colors. You will also see that we have brown paint for our sunflower. We also have our ballerina paintbrush and our black basket that has our water cup and our towel. If you are an art expert today, you are in charge of refilling the water cup halfway with clean water. Now remember, our paints do not like water inside of them, so every time you wash out your brush, make sure you dry it off gently with the towel, and then you may dip your brush into the paint. With the brown paint, we're going to begin painting the center of our sunflowers first. Grabbing the brown paint, I'm going to outline the shape that we drew last week.
After I've outlined the shape, I'm going to go back in and fill it in with brown paint using craftsmanship. That means I'm being mindful in the direction that I'm painting. Make sure you don't see any icky sticky boogers of paint or spread it out. Next, we're going to begin painting the petals of our sunflower. Wash out your brush, carefully dry it off, and dip your paintbrush into the yellow paint. We're going to be painting very short lines on the edges of the circle to represent the petals of our sunflower. Now, if your yellow paint mixes in with your brown paint because it's still wet, it's not a big deal if they mix in together a little bit. On top of our yellow, we're going to add some warmth with another color like orange. We're going to just barely paint on a little bit of orange on top of that yellow. Next, we're going to choose one color to paint our vase. I chose the color purple. Now with the same painting technique, we're going to outline the shape of our vase first. After you've outlined the shape, then begin to fill in with that beautiful paint. Sometimes your paint has a hard time spreading, so it's okay if you take water onto your paint on the paper and help it spread it out. You'll see that the paint spreads beautifully. Then choose another color for your table. I chose the color yellow, and I'm trying to be mindful as I'm painting around my purple vase because it could still be wet and it could mix together. Notice how I did not paint the stems of my sunflowers? We're going to be adding that detail next week. When you are finished painting, take your artwork to the drying rack. Today we're going to be adding some details in oil pastel to our dried painting from last week. Each table will have a tray of oil pastels. There's 4 boxes or 4 sets of oil pastels. You will have your own set. Now it's really important that we use one color at a time so that we don't lose any of the colors and we keep track of them. If you notice that the paper is getting in the way of drawing today, raise your hand and I will come help you peel the paper off. Oil pastels are made with oil and pigment, which is color, so it can be a little bit messy. When you're drawing today, try and roll up your sleeves. If your hand touches the oil pastel or moves across it, it could smudge and smear. Starting off with our oil pastel, we're going to begin outlining everything that we drew and painted. When I'm holding my oil pastel, I like to hold it at an angle, so not straight, using the edge of my oil pastel so I get a very thin line. Oil pastels are also quite soft, so if you press too hard, it might break. I've outlined my vase and my table, and now I'm outlining my sunflowers. I've added a smaller circle in the center of my sunflowers, and I'm creating little dots as the seeds in my sunflower. I can't really see my sunflowers that well, so we're going to outline the shape of the petals with the oil pastel. You can really see the difference that the oil pastel makes in my artwork.
Using a green oil pastel, we're now going to draw our stem. Connect the bottom of the flower with a green curved line and make sure your stem line doesn't go past the bottom of your oval. Then that's going to look a little funny. I'm even going to add some leaves to my stems. I'm going to use the shape of a triangle to make this detail. Now this next step is my favorite because this is where our artwork comes to life and looks like Van Gogh's. Van Gogh is known for his mark making, where he made very tiny marks in his artwork that created movement. It makes his artwork look like it's moving. I'm adding straight lines for my table because it follows the shape of the table. For my vase, I chose a really fun, bright color that would look nice on top of my purple, and I'm adding lines in the direction and the shape of my vase. For my background, I wanted to create even more movement. I used spiral and curly lines in the background to add that kind of effect. It's up to you on how you want to create your background. I noticed that my background was missing some color, and I thought it would bring out the blue if I added some other colors like pink and red. When you're finished with your artwork, make sure you turn your artwork into your artwork folder. Then double check your oil pastels and make sure they're all back home in the box and back in the tray. We don't want any missing colors.